Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty radical, a blueprint for the future that the source material calls Civilization 3.0. Now get this, it's a world built not on money, but on something, well, something totally different. Let's dig in. All right, let's just jump right in with a question that honestly gets to the very core of the system we live in right now. Take a second, really think about it. What is your biggest single fear? For most of us, I'm talking 99% of people living in what this framework calls Civilization 2.0, the answer probably isn't spiders or heights, right? It's that constant, nagging anxiety that's all tied to money. It's the fear of losing your job, missing that mortgage payment, getting hit with a surprise medical bill. Really, it's the fear of not having enough just to survive. So, you gotta ask, how did we even get here? How did this thing, money, which was just supposed to be a simple tool for swapping stuff, turn into this massive system that basically controls our lives? And this is where you see this huge shift. Money started out as a simple utility, right? A way to trade goods. But somewhere along the line, it morphed into this complex tool of control. It became the gatekeeper to our own survival. In this system, well, it forces us into this crazy trade-off. Think about it. We trade our most valuable, non-renewable resources, our youth, our health, our time, not to actually live a full life, but just to earn the right to exist. The source calls this high-tech survival. We're not really living, we're just surviving with better gadgets. Okay, so that brings us to this really provocative idea, a counterproposal that just throws that whole system out the window. It's a concept called the second home model, and it's asking us to imagine a completely different reality. And the question at the heart of this whole blueprint is so simple, but it's also completely disruptive. What if? What if you didn't need money to live? Seriously, what would that world even look like? Well, in this new model, the basics are no longer things you have to scramble and fight for. Things like housing, real organic food, natural health care, and just humane care for our elders, they aren't commodities anymore. They're guaranteed rights, just because you're a human being. So welcome to Civilization 3.0. This is a society that completely does away with the economic structures we've just always taken for granted. We're talking no currency, no salaries, and yep, no private property. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking. Impossible, right? Well, the framework argues it's totally possible if we're willing to completely redesign how society functions. And this new foundation, it rests on three key pillars. So how on earth could this actually work? Well, it all comes down to these three core pillars. First, you get rid of all the bureaucracy. Only essential work is left. Second, you bring in what they call an angelic workforce of AI to handle all the logistics. And third, that frees up humanity to get back to what the source calls the soul and the soil. Let's break that down. Pillar 1 is all about redefining work. It gets rid of what the source calls meaningless work. The endless meetings, the corporate ladders, the financial speculation, and instead we focus all our energy on what's actually essential for people to thrive: growing food, building homes, creating art and beauty. Now, for the second pillar, this is where technology becomes absolutely crucial. Picture an angelic workforce made of AI. It's like the invisible brain of society. It's managing supply chains, the energy grid, all the data. And it does it all without getting tired, without wanting power, and without asking for a paycheck. Its whole purpose is just to serve. And that brings us to the third and maybe the most important pillar of them all. This quote here really says it all. It draws a sacred line in the sand, defining what AI is never, ever allowed to do. And this is that boundary. It's super clear. AI handles the cold, hard logistics, the resource allocation, the data, the efficiency. And what does that do? It frees us, humans, to return to our true domain: connection, creativity, emotional care, and really working with the earth. In this world, farming isn't a chore. It's a spiritual practice. It's about grounding yourself. So, a big question comes up, right? If you're not working for a salary, what's your motivation? And if there's no money, how is your value even measured in this new kind of civilization? Well, the very first step is to completely redefine what it means to be an individual. You are not a human resource. That whole corporate way of thinking, it's gone, thrown out. So instead of measuring your value by your income or your productivity, society measures it by something totally internal: the frequency of your joy. The whole idea is that a person who is free from fear, who is genuinely joyful will naturally become a creative, helpful, and positive force for everyone around them. And when you reach that state, you become what the Source calls, and I think this is a beautiful metaphor, a mature wheat grain, a fully realized, mature soul. When you're freed from that constant fear, you become luminous, you become generative. You contribute to the world because you want to, out of joy, not because you have to. Now, the source material is very clear on this point. This isn't supposed to be some far-off sci-fi fantasy. It's presented as a real blueprint for a reality that's already starting to emerge, a transition that's actually in motion right now. The argument here is that this shift is already happening. It's not just an idea. A new way of living is apparently popping up in little pockets all over the globe. Quietly, maybe, but inevitably, it's starting to take root. And all of this leaves us with one last, really provocative question that kind of wraps up this whole vision. It's a question for you, for me, for all of us. Are you ready to stop earning a living and to start actually living?